Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to go over lesson 19. Make sure after we complete the lesson, we go over our workbook assignments. That way we don't wait till Thursday and be cramming up with all of those assignments, boys and girls. It's very important that we get it done. Now, let's go ahead and look at lesson 19. Touch the letters E in part 1. So in this part, boys and girls, what sound do the letters E make? Think about it. Get ready. E. Now you're going to say the sound for the underlined part and then read the word. Touch the first word in column A. What sound? E. What word? Eel. Remember, when you're saying the sound, you hold it for 3 seconds, boys and girls. Next word. What sound? E. What word? Feel. Next word. What sound? E. What word? Reef. Let's go ahead and look at column B. First word. What word? Screech. Next word. What word? Steep. Next word. What word? Peeling. Now let's go ahead and look at part 2, boys and girls. Make sure we're paying attention. First word. What sound? J. What word? Charges. Next word. What sound? Shun. What word? Location. Next word. What sound? R. What word? Markers. Next word. What sound? S. What word? Surface. Next word. What sound? Shun. What word? Cautioned. Next word. What sound? R. What word? Sharpness. Next word. What sound? J. What word? Sponges. Next word. What sound? What word? Patterns. Next word. What sound? E. What word? Creature. Next word. What sound? Ow. What word? Mouthpiece. Now let's go ahead and look at part 3, boys and girls. We're going to talk about what those words mean. Word number 1. What word? Location. A location is a place. Word number 2. What word? Indicate. To indicate means to point out or signal. Number 3. What word? Unsteady. Unsteady means shaky or not steady. Let's go ahead and look at part number 4, boys and girls. Part number 4. First word. What word? Attention. Next word. What word? Surge. Next word. What word? Breathing. Next word. What word? Burst. Next word. What word? Purchase. Next word. What word? Special. Next word. What word? Unsteady. Next word. What word? Nitrogen. Next word. What word? Current. Next word. What word? Grumbling. Next word. What word? Swayed. Next word. What word? Glimpse. Next word. What word? Watches. Next word. What word? Million. Next word. What word? Worth. Next word. What word? Die. Next word. What word? Razor. Next word. What word? Anchor. Next word. What word? 20. Next word. What word? Smiled. Next word. What word? Backward. Next word. What word? Bubbles. Next word. What word? Layer. Next word. What word? Sunken. Next word. What word? Adventurous. Next word. What word? Sunlight. Next word. What word? Purchased. Next word. What word? According. Next word. What word? Studied. So let's go ahead and continue with part number 5. All these words have more than one part. The first part and the last part are circled. Touch word number 1. Word number 1 is adjustment. What word? Adjustment. What's the first part? Add. What's the last part? Meant. The middle part is spelled J-U-S-T. What does that part say in the word? Get ready. Just. So the parts are add, just, meant. Say the whole word. Get ready. Adjustment. Word number 2. Word number 2 is preventing. What word? Preventing. What's the first part? Get ready. Pre. What's the last part? Get ready. Ing. The middle part is spelled V-E-N-T. What does that part say in the word? Get ready. Vent. So the parts are preventing. Say the whole word. Get ready. Preventing. Word number 3 is exaggerated. What word? Exaggerated. What's the first part? X. What's the last part? Aided. The middle part is spelled A-G-G-E-R. What does that part say in the word? Agar. So the parts are X, adder, aided. Say the whole word. Exaggerated. Word number 4 is production. What word? Production. What's the first part? Pro. What's the last part? Shun. The middle part is spelled D-U-C. What does that part say in the word? Duck. So the parts are production. Say the whole word. Get ready. Production. Number 5 is military. What word? Military. What's the first part? Mil. What's the last part? Airy. The middle part is spelled I-T. What does that part say in the word? It. So the parts are military. Say the whole word. Get ready. Military. Let's go ahead and read the sentence and just letter A. The president ordered a large adjustment in the size of the military. That means the president changed the size of the armed forces. Sentence letter B. The report exaggerated the company's production of trucks. That means the report said that there were more trucks produced than there actually were. Sentence letter C. The bad weather was preventing military helicopters from landing. That means the helicopters could not land because of the bad weather. Sentence letter D. Each month, they made an adjustment in the production rate of furniture. That means each month they changed how much furniture they made. Let's go ahead and begin with our story. The title of the story is Jane and Doris Take a Dive. Make sure we're following along, paying close attention, boys and girls. According to a map that Doris and Jane had studied, a ship with more than $50 million worth of gold had gone down at a location near the middle of the reef. That ship had gone down more than 200 years ago, and nobody had ever found it. It was hard to say just where the ship went down because the reef changes shape from year to year. The reef is made up of millions of tiny creatures, some living and some dead. The coral shells of these little creatures can be sharp as razors. This looks like a good location, Doris said as the boat moved between two lines of coral that stuck up above the water. Doris tossed the anchor over the side. Doris lowered the diving flags into the water. Then Jane slipped her arms into the loops on her air tanks. We'll stay down for 1 hour, Jane said. Set your watch. Both Jane and Doris had large diving watches with special markers to indicate how long they had been underwater. Doris cautioned, now don't get too adventurous. Stay on the east side of the reef and don't go down more than 50 feet. Jane said, right, and don't get too close to the reef. That coral will cut like a razor. Doris put her arm around Jane and patted her on the shoulder. Good luck, she said. She smiled, but her eyes looked a little unsteady. Jane sat on the side of the boat with her feet on the boat's floor. Then she fell backward into the water, holding her mask so that the water wouldn't leak in. She looked around underwater and could see Doris in a cloud of bubbles. Jane waved. Doris waved. Then the women started to swim along the reef. In some places, large plants grew from the reef and swayed slowly in the current of the water, like grass bending in a wind. Watch those plants, Jane said to herself. They indicate how the current is flowing. Suddenly, Jane heard a funny grumbling sound. She looked around and saw that Doris was pointing to something. Jane swam over and looked. 3 sponges were stuck to the reef about 20 feet below. Sponges are worth a lot of money. The sponges on the reef were probably worth $5 each. Jane pointed down, and then she swam down. She pulled 2 of the sponges from the rock. Doris pulled off the other sponge. Then Jane and Doris returned to the surface. Jane's mask was fogged. She pushed it up and said, Doris, we may get rich just finding sponges. Who needs a sunken ship? Doris smiled. Jane and Doris swam to the boat and tossed the sponges over the side. Jane explained, I think I'll go back down there and see if I can find any more sponges. Jane fixed her mouthpiece in her mouth, put her mask in place, and went underwater about 30 feet. She passed through a school of little silver fish that flashed in the sunlight. She picked into the waves along the reef. She went down another 15 feet. She was looking very hard for sponges, but she was not paying attention to the plants and how they were waving in the current. After you're done watching my video, please complete lesson 19, boys and girls. Do not wait till Thursday or Friday to do 4 lessons. So I advise that you do 1 every single day. Have a great day.